one of the things that the men discussed was about wives and the communication between wives. And a lot of times, us as husbands, we get it wrong because we're not sure of what wives need. So to hear you say that we
That's interesting.
we because you're not like a unicorn. You're not a unicorn to say, "Oh, I don't like to ask." I think that's a lot of people. I think a lot of people have a lot of marriages. Women have anxiety about asking because one, fear of rejection or fear of whatever it is, and a lot of men was like, "Man, I would rather my wife talk to me than have me guessing because there's so much going on in our head that it's hard to navigate what you need." So,
This is the Family Dynamics Podcast with Kevin and Alicia Meeks.
welcome to the Family Dynamics. I am your host, Kevin Meeks, and I am sitting to my beautiful wife, Alicia Meeks.
Hey, y'all. Hey.
How's your week been going, honey?
It's going. We had a pretty eventful week. So I was happy to see the weekend, honestly.
Yeah. I need another holiday break from work. That's what I do need.
Yes, we need a vacation.
We definitely need a vacation. We do got something coming up here in the next week or so. So that's exciting.
Hmm.
Man, we've been getting a lot of good and positive feedback as it relates to the podcast.
Yeah, that was really cool yesterday.
So if you are not subscribed to the Family Dynamics podcast, like I don't know where you been, like subscribe, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast on, whatever platforms. Look, we be going hard in the paint in this podcast, and you are 30 some odd episodes behind.
Or
So
even on YouTube, because YouTube is like for people who, prefer visual to see us and see our facial expressions when we're having these vivid, unscripted conversations about life.
absolutely. And it did, I think some people getting it wrong. Like we just talk about co-parenting or we just talk about marriage. We talk about a little bit of both
Yeah.
and just, pun intended, the family dynamics, the entire family dynamics, the whole gamut, like the whole thing, like the ups, the downs, some of the hidden secrets, some of the things that people don't want to talk about, we talk about.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Why not?
But today we are talking about.
We are talking about little things that make a big difference in your marriage.
I'm curious. What made you? Because you picked this topic. What made you pick this topic?
Because the truth is, like, it's little things that make a big difference in your marriage. I was talking to my daughter the other day, a couple days ago, and I was just telling her like Kevin is just really a good husband. And I just noticed a lot of growth in him, and I admire some of the things that he does for me and us as a family. And I was just telling her, and she was like, "But like what?" Because Amaya is me. She is my child, and she'll ask, the questions, and she like, "Well, like what, mom?" And I was like just everything. Like I just noticed, like he is on it, like about when it comes to me, like little things. Like I was in the kitchen talking on the phone and cooking, and I usually have my Bluetooth in, but for some reason, I don't know what was going on. Maybe I had just got off of work and I didn't have my Bluetooth. And I was holding the phone and trying to talk, or I put the phone right here. It'd be on my bra strap, and I be talking so it could be by my mouth and I can hear. And so he just will walk up with my Bluetooth like here. Like he notices things and he just handles it. Or like the other night, I don't know what was wrong with me, But I had this huge cup of cran grape juice and I spilled it in our bedroom. I always like to bring a cup with some iced something up to our room. And I don't know what happened, but I dropped it. And Kevin naked self went downstairs and got this drill because he got a brush on the end of the drill, and he came back with it like to help me clean up, and I didn't have to ask him. And I like that because I don't like to ask. I don't know why, but I don't like to ask stuff. Like, I don't like to ask for help. I don't like to ask for nothing. Like, I don't like to ask for stuff. Not that I want him to read my mind, but
But is it a pride thing that you don't want to ask?
no, it's not a pride thing. It's just that I don't want to. Like, I want like you, the husband I like that. Like, I want somebody to see a need and feel a need. And I mean, if I really, 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 really need something, then I will ask. But I don't like to ask because some stuff just be obvious. And so why not just do it? And so that's just how I feel.
But I mean, let's unpack that. Like, I think that sometimes, like, spouse can get it wrong. Like, of course, I seen that you spilled something or whatever. Like, okay, she needs help. But what about other times that I'm really in my own head and I'm really not paying attention, but you really need my help?
Then I guess I will ask for it if I see that you're not forthcoming or just automatically like in that moment when I spilled the cran grape juice. I can handle it, so I didn't need help, but I appreciated your help.
Yeah. Um, we was talking on well, I was talking on a podcast this weekend, Friday actually, and one of the things that the men discussed was about wives and the communication between wives, and a lot of times us as husbands we get it wrong because we're not sure of what wives need. So to hear you say that we
That's interesting.
we because you're not like a unicorn. You're not a unicorn to say, "Oh, I don't like to ask." I think that's a lot of people. I think a lot of people have a lot of marriages. Women have anxiety about asking because one, fear of the rejection or fear of whatever it is, and a lot of men was like, "Man, I would rather my wife talk to me than have me guessing because there's so much going on in our head that it's hard to navigate what you need." So, yes, in that aspect, I can visually see that she needs help. When you say you didn't need help, but I thought you needed help because I know you wouldn't have wanted a stain on our carpet. Um, and then you said you don't like to ask, but it's good for husbands to get that, like, tell me what you need because we guessing. A lot of times, husband, what do you want to eat? What do you want to eat? What do you like to eat? Why are you hungry? And a lot of times, women don't give us enough to go on.
Well, like yesterday, I was very happy that you just made a reservation and we went to get something to eat. Like, I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, I'm happy that you just handled it. Like, I like to see you take charge. I like
No,
that.
no, I think that's cool, but I'm just saying, and when there are more cases than those where I may get it wrong, so it's probably more advantageous to say, "Hey, babe, I need your help in this," because then it's sexy to us as husbands to be needed, and when we hear that there's a need, that's so. I guess we both saying the same thing. It's a balance
Yeah.
to for husbands to take more of the initiative and more of the forward role, and wives to display their need for their husband genuinely, not I'm gonna do this because it makes him feel good, but do this
Right.
because I really do need his help, and I want him to know that you're always needed, even if it's the small things, light bulbs, ironing, or air in the tire, like what it is. Like, I need you or not, because one of the topics was about independent women
Uh huh.
and dating a wife or courting a wife who's independent can be very taxing mentally and emotionally because she brings a level of not needing a man. So what my response was, instead of us, I don't like an independent woman, the negative connotation of it, because when
Mhm.
you Google it, it's a negative connotation.
Mhm.
But what my response was, I said, an independent woman has a skill set that I think that she could be a huge resource to her marriage and drop
Asset.
at, right, be a huge resource and an asset to her marriage rather than continue on the stance of I'm an independent woman.
Mhm.
Like I'm independent because I had to as a wife. I'm saying as a wife, I'm independent because I had to, but I'm gonna bring the skills and the knowledge of being an independent woman into my marriage
Mhm.
so that we are better and not staying, oh, I'm an independent woman, I don't need you.
Right.
So that's what, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that because I definitely was an independent woman before we got married. Um, I had no choice. Like it was the cards that I was dealt. So I was an independent woman, and I, got a specific mindset and skill set because of it, and ability to hustle, grind, maintain, persevere, handle shit.
But
That's
yeah, I think that that's a skill set that can be used in your marriage rather than you stay a unicorn or an island in the marriage.
yeah. I agree with you.
So with the new topic today, when we talking about
Little things that
the
make a
little
big.
things that make a big difference, I think we're already into the topic already.
Mhm.
Little things could be, hey, us as men kind of recognizing where the need and feel those needs. Now, I'm not saying that every wife may need that because some wives not they don't need that and most of them do. I can't really say, but if that's you, then that's one thing that us as husbands can adopt. Like, hey, man, that's something small. If you see something, fix something. It's kind
Mhm.
of like when we see the kids, they walk over paper and dirt and stuff like that, and they don't pick it up. Like that's something small. Those are the
Mhm.
little things.
Mhm.
Making a reservation, um, chartering a flight, or whatever it is, like something small. You know what I mean? That you often take for granted that your wife do each and every day.
Right. I mean, just even like with the smallest, the bare minimum, smallest thing is the way you greet your spouse when you see your spouse again for the first time. So I try to make a conscious effort when I speak to you for the first time in that day or see you physically. I make a conscious effort to ensure that I try my very best. Sometimes our son will have me upset in the morning, and that's different, but on a daily basis. So then on those days, I'm like, "Hey, babe, because," and I'm on edge. But on a regular day, I try my very best to have a good tone of voice and pay attention to how I'm saying, "Hey, good morning." Or when I physically see him, to try to walk up to him and give him a kiss. I try my best. I don't always meet the mark, but it is my goal to have a good demeanor, because who would want to come home to every time I see her walking the door, she rolling her eyes, or whatever. So I try my very best when it's my first start of the day, when I speak to my husband after my little morning routine. He's usually the very first person that I speak to in the morning, and I try my best to, because he be at work at that time, and I try my very best to, greet him with good morning. How's your day going? Hey.
Yeah, no, I know. I think those things. Well, not think. I know those things really help because you never know how my day is going. Like sometimes I just be, and because of the way my schedule go, like I be super stressed out sometimes during the day. You know, when you have these jobs, it's not like, they care about your personal life or your mental health. So to have a positive, upbeat voice in the day or when you come home, that kind of disarms you a little bit, and then you're able to tackle the issues of your household after that. And some of the little things that I do, and I've been really consistent in it, is if I'm on my way home, or I like coffee, like frozen coffee. Is about the only thing I'm gonna drink. Is if I'm out, hey, send a text or a call. Hey, is it anything you need? I'm gonna stop by the grocery store, or do you need me to stop by the Walmart? Something that I can take off the plate that's in my scope or in my route. So I think that's one little thing that I have noticed that I do, but it's kind of unconscious too.
Mm-hmm.
So um yeah.
I think another thing that's small but big is listening. Listening makes a big difference. Like, if someone is talking to you, like for you to listen, actually listen to what they have to say, because in that, if you're not listening, then that would make somebody feel bad. That'll make them feel away. And so that's a small thing, but a big thing, because I don't know what show I was watching, but it seemed like the husband was very dismissive towards the wife, and like, I could just see on her demeanor, like, dang, like, he not even listening, whatever, and who wants to feel like that? So that's just something small but big, you know what I'm saying, to feel heard. Like, I know, like, it's some conversations that I may bring to Kevin, and I can tell he's listening wholeheartedly and giving me good feedback on whatever the topic is, or turning on into encouragement, or whatever it is that I might need in that moment. And so that, to me, that's something small but big. It's huge, actually.
Yeah, no, I think um that may be the biggest thing. And I always say that one of the bases of our relationship has been communication. Like, we talked a lot. I was on the road every single day, and all we had a lot was our communication. So when we communicating, like, it's important for me to listen wholeheartedly. I may have a feeling, I may have a bias about the topic, or I may whatever. So, but in them moments, I think that I kind of lately, and I can't say I've been the best at it, but lately I've been more disconnected from the emotion of how I feel about it, and more so what you feel about it. Like,
Mhm.
like disconnecting from how I feel about the actual topic. Now, because we are in relationship, yeah, there are some emotions that come back after I have presented the solution.
Mhm.
But initially, all I want to do is see what you think and get into your head of why you feeling like that and why you came to that. Um, and what I think more than I'm learning too is, like, some things you're not even asking for a solution for. You just really just want to talk it out, or you just
Yeah.
really want to hear it out. So I don't try to engage as heavy as I used to, and that's a learned behavior, y'all. That's a learned behavior, because have you noticed sometimes a situation will have a situation or conversation will turn to a you and your spouse thing. It had nothing to do with you. You could be pillow talking about something or somebody else. You can call it gossip. But I think all relationships have had and still have conversations about external people in your house. And if you don't, man, that's maybe just us. But if we have a conversation about something, whether it's a show or someone else's relationship, sometimes those situations you'll try to make it because you're not hearing each other well, and
Mhm.
like you'll make that situation your situation,
Yeah.
and then you end up arguing. So I just really I'm here for the listening part. Like, what they
Mhm.
say? What's they say? Um, most communication is nonverbal.
Oh yeah, a lot of it is like even, and that was the next thing that I was gonna say. Like your facial expressions, you know, I'm bad with it. Oh, I'm bad with it. Like it'd be written all over my face. Like if I'm upset about something or if I don't feel like hearing something, like it's totally like I don't have to say anything. Like it's on my face because I don't know. So that's something that I actively try to work on as far as like if I want to make sure, like I noticed also too, like in some conversations when Kevin's talking, he smiles a lot when he's talking, like no, because like, and that makes whatever he's saying, the delivery of it, you know, easier to receive, when he's talking. I notice that often he starts to smile while he's talking about stuff.
And and that's crazy because I go to therapy, and it like in the point, case in point, the topic we're talking about, it's the little things that will change a dynamic, like the psychology of things. A smile, folding arms will say you're not really receiving me, or a tilted head, or huffing and puffing, or breathing deeply. Like you see, when you see those things,
Yeah, it's
it turn
called body jargon.
yeah. So you see those things. So it's not fake that I smile, but I smile because in my mind, if it's a heavy topic, I'm always reflecting to the person that I'm talking to, meaning my wife. Like, you're talking to your wife, you're talking to your wife. So respond in a loving or respectful way. We do have to recognize in our marriages that this he or she is getting a little testy in this. So let me adjust my tone or my facials or whatever, because we can't expect all all topics to be a flowery conversation, like you
Yeah.
know so I have to sometimes I have to redirect and say, babe, are you okay with this conversation? Do we need to take a breather, because it appears that you're getting upset, and that's not my intent. Like, I'm just talking to you. Sometimes it may be you, the problem that I'm referring to, but if you can't take it right now, then we have to revisit it, because
Mm-hmm.
um, that's just it. And that's a learned behavior. That's learned. And I keep reiterating that because in early days, like, it would be like whatever emotion I'm feel, if I'm angry or if I'm upset or I feel attacked, like I'm immediately want to address it versus continually continually seeing who is this person I'm talking to. You talking to your wife. Like, tomorrow y'all gonna wake up. Like, you can't dismiss this person. I mean, you can, people do, but
People do.
you can't dismiss this person if you're, a respectable, logical person. You can't dismiss this person. This person is your wife. This person is your husband. So, because we be seeing some marriages and they be like, ooh, you talk to your spouse like that. Like, that's crazy. But
It is crazy. Let me see. What else is a small thing but makes a big difference? Um, so I don't know who I was talking to, but basically, some type of way, I was giving out some TMI, but too much information. But basically, like Kevin and I normally, if nothing's like going on with our health or anything like that, like most days we shower together. Like it's not a big thing. Like some people be like, "Ooh, I'm gonna take a shower with my husband." Well, I take a shower with my husband every day. Like it just happens. It's just it's always been. So, it just is. And so that's a small thing, that's a big thing. Because in those moments you can have conversations. You can do other things too. But you can have conversations, it starts your morning off good, just whatever. Like Kevin will be coming home from work and I'll be going to work, but we both needed a shower. You know what I'm saying? So it happens, and that's that. So, that's a small thing that can be a big thing, as well as kissing your spouse on the lips. Like, some people don't kiss often. I don't know why, but I don't know. Kevin has a friend, I don't know. But I remember this was a long time ago, back in the day. Kevin was talking to the person or whatever, and he was, kind of like taken aback, like, y'all don't touch each other, like, y'all don't be touching on each other, like, it's any given moment I'm like rubbing on Kevin's arm or holding his hand, because my hands get cold fast, and so he'll be holding my hand, with his hand to kind of warm me up. It's just physical touch. Like, I don't know, it's any given moment, like, I just come lean back, Kevin, and then he'll just put his arm around me or just whatever. He always touching my butt. He be on edge. But but it's just like, physical touch, just a small thing that means a lot. Like, it can make a big difference in how you feeling about your spouse. And I'll tell him any moment, like, come on, you wanna go lay up? I like, come on, you wanna lay up with me? And then, that just means we finna go get in the bed. Like, so, try to wind down, your day. So,
Yeah. I got a couple partners that they don't sleep in the same room with their spouse, and that's foreign to me. I mean, it works for them, and I've actually had conversations with them and asked them, like, "Hey, man,
mm,
how does that work?" Because I mean, I didn't get married to sleep in separate rooms. Now, if you have, the only way I can see it is if there is a issue health wise, like, some people have to have the machines to go to sleep, and that can be very
disturbing.
disturbing to the other
Yeah,
spouse.
I actually had this in one of my posts. I don't know if it was in one of my groups or what, but it was about sleeping separately from your spouse. And somebody that I never even expected came on and was like, "Yeah, well, me and my husband, we sleep separately most days because he snores just too much, and I can't sleep. It like, it breaks up my sleep. Like, he snores just terribly. So now, in an effort so we can both get rest, we sleep separately on most days." And I'm just like, whoa, like, like, I don't know. I don't know. Because did the person just start snoring like that? Because maybe in the courting stage, I don't know if that would have kept me from marrying that person. Not that you should not marry the person because they snore. I'm not saying that. But I don't know. It just would have been hard for me. Like, it's just hard for me. Like, right now, I can't barely sleep. Like, usually, I know that it's like a baby. Like, usually, I notice when Kevin out of the bed, and I know he has to go to work. But like an hour or two after he gets out of the bed, I wake up and I can't go back to sleep for hours. And that really messes up my sleep. So I hope his schedule changes or something happens so that's not the case, because I really can't sleep really good without him. I don't know.
Yeah, and you know what? I've seen where people say that they, um, if they beefing, they rather sleep in separate rooms, or if things aren't going well in the marriage, that okay, well, we don't have to sleep in separate rooms, but you're gonna be in this house. And when I always question that, why don't you just fix the issue rather than sleeping in separate rooms? Now, I understand if things get heated, because even in therapy, they'll say, hey, if you're having an issue, like, go take you a breather and talk it out later, like get back to it later. But to go years where you sleep in separate rooms, like, to me, and that's just us, like, I just think it breaks the connection. Like, now you're creating that division.
Yeah, it is definitely, to me, a division. Just to me. I mean, whatever works for everybody
Because I
married.
had COVID and she was going crazy because I had to sleep in another room. It was like for 10 days or something like that. And
Oh,
she was going crazy. And I was just down the hall.
I know.
Yeah, she was going crazy because I had COVID and I had to sleep in another room because I didn't want, even though she's, you know, I didn't want her to.
I'm vaccinated.
Yeah, she was vaccinated. I
But that don't even matter these days.
no, so I still had to sleep in another room, and she was going crazy.
And that cracks you up. That cracked you
Yeah, you wanted a conjugal visit.
up. I don't know what. That's just crazy. I can't do it. It's just not for me. But whatever works, I can understand. I totally get it. Like if you're, I've seen, people that snore heavily, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And in a relationship that I previously had, the person was snoring, and I bought those airplane earplugs, but you really can't do that. Like, you have to be aware of your surroundings. Like that's just nuts. And I just yeah, no. It ain't for me.
No, and it ain't for me either. Like
So good I don't snore. Uh.
another small thing I know that I've done. Now there are some people that mandate this, and that's they won't never go get gas. And I know I found myself going to the gas station if I'm in my wife's car or I know it's gonna be eat and I know she got to go to an event or she got to do something heavy where that's an extra time she don't need, I will go get some gas. But to say like, oh, I'm not touching the gas pump, I think that's a bit much because I mean,
Yeah, it is some people. It was somebody I know who said like, I'm not. I'm driving home on E. I just think that's just like, come on, girl, like deep. Like, girl, grow the hell up. Because it just ain't that serious.
you
Like
know,
it's sometimes like more than a month that I go without even sometimes I don't even look at my gas because I don't know. Kevin just always does make sure I have gas most times. But like this week, yeah, I needed some gas. And so I did drive home on E though. That's because I was just ready to come home. But the next morning I went and got me some gas because I needed gas. So, it's not like, Kevin. No. Like usually he realizes it, for like he said, for whatever reasons, but yeah, no, I'm not gonna boycott the gas station. Like,
yeah, that's
it
kind of
just ain't
crazy.
that deep to me. I mean, do I like for my husband to pump the gas? Do I sometimes when we're out and I know I'm getting low, purposely pull into the gas station while he's with me? Yes. Because I don't like pumping the gas, but I will. I will pump the gas. I will put air in my tire. I will check my oil dipstick if needed. Like, I'm thankful that my father taught me these things, and that's a part of that independentness. But I do know I have a husband that will handle that majority of the time.
And I got two more small things. Like one thing that I noticed that you'll do, if she goes to the dollar store now, I don't think it's a dollar. It's like $1.25,
Yeah.
$1.50 now. She'll grab some of the snacks that I typically like, and we have these. My wife has these. She got this pantry where it's all color coded. It has the names, so everybody got their snacks, and so you ain't eating everybody's snacks. So everybody got their own little section. So I'll notice like my bin will have some of my favorite snacks, and I have probably been like, man, I want me a little something. I go in there like, oh man, thanks, man. You got the Twizzlers for me or whatever it is. So I think those are some of the little things that we take for granted as spouses sometimes. Like that's something that I'd be like, oh man, thanks. And another thing is when my wife this I don't know if this is a small thing, but it's a thing. When my wife comes to like an apologetic heart, like when she comes to like, you know what, man, I may not have thought it was a big thing, but when she like, I'm sorry, I ain't mean to do that or do this, and it may have been caught me off guard because I may have not thought of that much of it, but when you do that, that's like, oh, okay. Yeah.
I actually apologize because you be trying to make it like I do not
Well, no, I
apologize.
didn't say you don't. I'm just saying it was kind of like the thing when I was saying about if I, about the juice and you spill. Like sometimes I may get it wrong. That don't mean that you don't get it wrong either. Like, hey, that may have been a spot where you may need to say, hey, babe, I'm sorry. I didn't know I made you feel that way. If you felt some type of way about what I said, I'm sorry. You can miss it just like I can miss stuff. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
it's good to communicate. But when you do recognize without me having to ask or having to say that made me feel some type of way, it does feel good knowing that you have an apologetic heart when I don't have to ask you or tell you and then we have to have a dialogue about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
that feels good. And I have to, you know, because I've said it, like, because when else would a husband get an apology for something? Because I ain't gonna lie, a lot of women, y'all don't think that y'all do nothing wrong. So when you apologize, it feels more human. Like, oh, okay, she gets it. So those are one of the last two things I want to say about some of the small things. So the basis of it is what?
I just feel like small things they really do matter, and some things that you may not know that this is a big thing, or that this small thing makes such a big difference, but it does over time, such as just like even building your spouse up, like those little words of encouragement, or just gratitude, appreciation, or just constructive criticism. Like, not even, it's not even criticism, like praise, praise. So not criticism, because that can be seen as tearing somebody down sometimes. But we all need criticism at times. But those small moments where you may say, like, I tell Kevin, like, sometimes I just feel like that he needs a reminder. Like, babe, you are a good dad. I don't give a fuck who said, or however whoever feels. You are a good dad. I don't give a shit. Like, cause sometimes I just feel like some outside sources will try to tear my husband down. We all know he was a young father and everything. And it's only so much the hell he could do at 13 years old. So I hate that some people had or have or whatever these expectations of him that are very unrealistic to have of him when he was only 13 years old, like 13, 14, whatever age it was. It was young, under 16. They got the 16 and pregnant and stuff now. Well, he wasn't even 16. Like, so he did the best that he damn could as such a child trying to raise a child. And I feel like I'm digressing, but I feel like the mothers don't get the same slack, because it may appear to the child that they mother did so much, when the truth is they mother was a child too. They mother parents was taking care of you and them. You know what I'm saying? And so that's just a little stuff. And so I be damn, on my watch is my husband gonna beat himself up for something that he was actually failed on. Because if he had the proper supervision, parental supervision, then he wouldn't have been in a situation, because that's the first thing that popped in my mind when, starting to date with him, and he said, like, yeah, I had a baby at this young age. I'm like, where was the parents? Period. If my baby had a baby at a young age, where was I? Now, sometimes, our kids, they wander off, they do things, but overall, that was the first thing that popped into my head. Like, where were the parents? The parents of him and her, that this was able to occur. Like, we as, parents, we have to know, where our kids are, what type of shit they up to, because they'll get into stuff. They kids. And that's why God put us in their life to watch over them. And so, so anyway, I like to build him up when I, feel like the world may be attacking him, or, it may appear to be getting to him. And that's why you have to know your spouse and you have to pay attention to them, because men don't always speak what's on their mind, because they may not want to look soft, or, may want to just look like they can handle it and tough it out. Well, I can feel sometimes when I can see like, oh, my baby's starting to feel like, and no. Whatever, and I told my daughter this recently too, like, girl, you can do whatever you want to do with your life at this point. It's not nobody in this world. I know God is pleased with me. I've done all that I can do. I've given you, I've sacrificed. It's nothing I didn't do for that little girl. So, if she happened to went left, then people just gonna be like, that's a shame. All Alicia did, that's a damn shame. Maya lost her mind. But they ain't gonna say Alicia was out in the streets and that's what we knew it was bound to happen.
Right.
No, we'll all be in shock together. Okay? Because, when Maya lose her mind temporarily from time to time, my friends got them sending me flowers, because they know, like, this is not the child you raised. You know what I'm saying? Because she be having temporary loss of sanity, and in those moments when I'm, maybe feeling down, like second guessing my parental guidance, like, where did I go wrong, Lord? Why has thou forsaken me? Kevin be listening back to these podcasts and he be cracking up. My wife. But I'm just saying, God be giving me little snippy stuff to say. But anyway, that's it. Building up your spouse is a good little thing that makes a big difference.
Definitely. Listen, put down in the comments what you guys think about this episode. And hey, if you haven't subscribed to the Family Dynamics podcast, I'm going to have to say, you're missing out. So subscribe on our YouTube page where you can visually see this, and on all your social platforms, and on all of your platforms that you listen to podcasts on. Please, this is a commercial. Please visit the Spoiled Wives Club
YouTube and Instagram page. I have a journey that I have posted on my YouTube page. So if you want to be all up in my business, go on over there and watch my journey. Join me on my journey. I'm not even going to tell you what it's about. Go Google Spoiled Wives Club YouTube, and you'll see that I got about 3 videos in so far into my journey.
So we thank y'all, and we'll see y'all in a minute.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Family Dynamics Podcast with Kevin and Alicia Meeks.
Thank you, guys.
Please like, subscribe, and comment. And don't forget to follow us on social media at The Family Dynamics.
We'll see y'all in a minute.
Bye.